Getting Friday vibes going. Oh my God, I'm feeling so casual. Casual. Oh, we're doing it again. What is up, everybody? Welcome into Casual Friday edition of the DNVR Nuggets podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Vogt, what's going on over there?
I forgot the 2:30 Friday slot is. I need my Will Barton sunglass hour here. I can't see anything.
Great. Also, I look forward to the sun just.
I can't believe we're back
in your face.
Yeah, we're like right back into the pandemic shows. Like, bro, you still not acquired a piece of cardboard to put over your goddamn window?
We got a shortage of cardboard going. I got my esteemed squad with me. I got Brendan Vogt shining, glistening in the sunlight.
I'm in a great mood today, fellas. Real Friday mood. I feel like Colorado weather showing out. I'm ready to talk some nugs. Start the weekend right.
Colorado weather 100% showing out. You got snow-capped Rocky Mountains and then like shorts weather, straight up shorts weather. I know you're in a jacket right now, but I wore pants to Nuggets practice today. Regretted it immensely.
Well,
should have just gone shorts and flip-flops.
Yeah, but then Malone would have made fun of you. So,
dude, I wore flip-flops one time, and you're right. Malone did make fun of me. Although Malone made fun of me today anyway, so I guess it's nothing I can do. I've also got D-Line over here, who's on the world's worst Wi-Fi.
Is that right?
Well,
my Wi-Fi's bad.
Our Wi-Fi's fixed in here now. We're getting a full gig. Screw you.
What are we talking about? Screw you, bro.
Is he frozen to you too, Vogt?
Nope. Maybe it's you.
My Wi-Fi.
It's actually your Wi-Fi. Are we back? We're back in the era where you're able to judge a man by his Wi-Fi connection. Holy smokes! Yeah, Colorado, dude. Colorado at this moment is like I said this earlier. It's like an autumnal theme park. Like if you were going to Fall Land, USA, they would look exactly like it does outside. You would all drink cider and jump into a pile of leaves.
You're joking, but you're also dead serious because you're 100% right. I say this. I love Colorado. I'm extremely biased. I would, you want to argue that so-and-so is better in the spring or summer or winter, whatever. Like, okay, everybody has their take. You're wrong, though, if you think there's a better place on earth than Colorado in the fall. It peaks. It's the greatest place on earth. It's the 100% best in today.
I just wish it was longer. Fall in Colorado.
That's my only gripe. You know what? It is like, November already all through the first week of November, and it hasn't I still haven't blown out my sprinklers. Going full dad over here. Just not really cold enough yet. Still water in the lawn. So you got that going for you. I could go full dad with you guys if you want.
What do you mean you could? You just did.
But we do have a lot to get to tonight. We're going to have mailbag. You guys sent in some really good questions. I mean, everybody is kind of thinking about the same stuff right now as you watch these Nuggets. So it's kind of funny. Like we're far enough into the season that themes have developed, but not far enough that there's like a diversity of themes. There's like three themes and everybody kind of has the same ones, but nonetheless, they still make for some good questions. But we start tonight with our top story. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the logo. Gentlemen, were you watching basketball last night?
I watched that play.
That's all you needed to see was that play.
Shout out Paul George. That was a bad shot, but baby, it went in. Nothing but
20 to play. We'll screen this, Gail. Hold on. Pause it. You got to pause it. All right, we got to set the stage here as you see him going to a shooting motion. The Thunder are up 3 points. By the way, I repeat, the Thunder are up 3 points heading into the final minute and a half in Los Angeles. LeBron didn't play, but guess what? That's why you bring in Westbrook, guys. Westbrook could carry the team when LeBron sits, and that way he's fresh all year long. Also, this game also featured what was just a season ago, arguably the greatest big to ever play the game, guys. Is it too early to say? Some think so, some don't, but you might be. So it features these guys. The Thunder are up 3 miraculously, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander decides, like, all right, huge possession here, guys. We got to maximize it. Roll that tape.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? That would take an element.
What does it mean to feel it so much that you're like, you know what? I don't need to walk any further than half court. This is my spot.
Literally what we just watched is what that means. That's what that is. Like, you know what the greatest part about that is that we're going to see that featuring Bones Hyland. It's going to be incredible.
I know. And as that shot takes 6 seconds to find the rim, we'll all be screaming, no!
Oh, not me. I'll be like, Bones!
It was absolutely ridiculous, man, that shot. Like, in that moment, I just can't imagine doing all the work to get a little 3-point lead, run some clock. You're up. Let's run some clock, guys. Let's carry the clock down to like 50 seconds or something. He's like, no, I just am feeling it. There's logic, but then there's also feeling it. And he was feeling a 40-foot launch, and it was one of the best plays ever. Not least of all, would I have been, Vogt, you can answer this. Would I have been this hyped if Shea did that to beat the Charlotte Hornets?
No, you wouldn't. I mean, you'd like the shot. We'd shout it out, but we wouldn't lead the show with it. I don't know if it would be segment one.
Yeah, is this Adam Tendency corner? Is that what we're trying to figure out?
It might be Adam Tendency. So I just wanted to lead with that. I was watching a lot of basketball. I do Thursday Locked On NBA, so I try to like watch all the games on Thursday nights. So I'm watching, and the Rockets are, of course, one of the teams I'm going to take a peek at. And this was the first time watching a majority of the Rockets game, and timely, obviously, with them in town tomorrow. I got a quick scouting report on them. They play really dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got a lot of really dumb players, so that actually follows.
Eric Gordon, you forget that he's there. Like, he's a good player that a lot of teams could probably use. He's not great, but he's a good player. And it was weird to see him out there with Kevin Porter and Jalen Greene and Christian Wood, just dudes that are doing nonstop spin moves and sidesteps. And you're like, I'm telling you, man, that team, they're so young and they're super talented. They're honestly like if there's like 6 Michael Porters on one team. Like it's kind of what it's like, where they're really talented. But you watch them and it's like, hey, you guys do what you want. You want to ISO here? Go for it. And Jalen Greene, supreme confidence to take as many shots as it takes to get 10 points.
Colin Sexton is just looking at that Houston situation. The only player in the league trying to force a trade to Houston right now.
He would be perfect there.
That is actually why I like Jalen Greene for Rookie of the Year, though through 8 games that doesn't look great, but just because I thought he would get to just do that and play free and jack some shots up. And I also do find myself wondering, just for curiosity, not trying to start a fire or anything, like a player like Porter, like Michael Porter Jr., I wonder what the first few years of his career would have looked like in a scenario like that, where probably nothing holding him accountable to the little things and the winning habits, but does he maybe realize himself as a ultimate scorer a little quicker? I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, we've really like championed Malone's handling of Michael Porter Jr. to make sure that he understands the right things, brings him along slowly, gets all of the right lessons, and he's broken now. He just broke it. turns out maybe like not the right way to handle it. Like maybe he just like, maybe it depends on the actual, substance of the person, of the clay that you're trying to mold. That if you're able to break it,
or
depending on who you are. Yeah.
First of all, Eric, of course you're right. Like, I mean, this is a true thing about life. I think that there is no one universal like way things work. It's just like, hey, does this guy fit with sort of the philosophy of this or that? And by the way, like Michael Porter's still TBD. I mean, he's been pretty great. It's not like this last 8 games are representative of how his entire career has gone with the Nuggets. But I will say you're right. But also look at Jalen Greene's numbers. He's also shooting like 10% from the field so far. The difference is nobody cares.
He's a Spalding guy. That's why everybody knows that.
A Spalding guy. Hey, might come up a little bit later.
By the way, I actually am going to go get some sunglasses. I'll be back in like 40 seconds.
Get some goddamn cardboard. Fix the cause, not the symptoms. My God.
So the Rockets play really fast. They like to ISO. It's like kind of whoever brings the ball up, that's your turn. And so there's a lot of that going on. I mean, they have more structure than this guys, but relative to most teams, they kind of appear this way. And I think Denver tomorrow, I would say the lines are probably going to be really high tomorrow for everybody's point totals, just because there's a lot of possessions, not a lot of defense. And Houston does score. So, if Denver goes cold, they're going to have to keep pace. So it'll be.
How do you feel about their outlook in general, the Houston Rockets? Do you feel like they are careening into a untenable mess, or do you feel like they are a young team that's being allowed to find themselves and ultimately it's going to work later on?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's so early that I don't think you could say either way. The one thing I'll say is I think arguably the 2 best prospects on that roster are Jalen Greene and Kevin Porter Jr. I mean, you could say Christian Wood, depending on how you feel about him, but we can just say top 3. And Porter Jr. is a huge character question mark. I mean, basically, Cleveland got rid of him just as a hey, you're so talented, we got it. Like, this is a nightmare. So, and then Jalen Greene, I don't know anything about him. I don't want to, but the way he plays is certainly a guy that has a lot to learn that he doesn't maybe know. One of those guys that doesn't know what he doesn't know. So those types of guys, in my experience, and by the way, scoring wings in general take longer to develop into like impact players. So I would say I am a fan of the upside, but I think it's going to be a group of players that are really hard to like be patient with to get where you want to go.
I mean, just the mere description of them makes it feel like it's going to be a long haul in Houston. Will it ever happen? Like, it's like one of these squads that, like, I'm trying to think of like another equivalent of just like super talented guys that don't have any concept of team ball. And they like never quite pull it together.
And I don't know if these guys don't want to have a concept of that. It's just very hard when you're such a talented scorer, so talented, in fact, that you didn't need anything else. And then you get to a level where you actually do need the other parts of it. It's hard to like, that's a tough crash course. I'll also say they have an owner in Tillman Fertitta that has not in his life demonstrated to be a patient and hands-off type of character. And I think this is one of those ones where you probably, they've also got Shangun. I'm sorry.
Who's great.
I forgot about here. Shangun. Yeah, he's definitely up there, but he, like the rest of these guys, like they're not going to be great this year. They're going to show flashes of it, but they just have so much. So I just think you have to be really, really patient if you're the Houston Rockets, and that's so hard to do. It's really, really hard to do. Also, contracts come due, and then you're paying these guys before they get there. But speaking of ownership, our other top story tonight comes out of Phoenix, where the report, we heard this weeks ago, there's a bombshell report from ESPN coming, and it's going to, on Monday, we heard like 2 weeks ago on Monday, and there was a delay to it, and we all kind of thought, like, what's going on with this? What's going on? It dropped. Baxter Holmes, an incredibly respected reporter, is the one that penned this one, interviewed over 70 people, got quotes and all this different stuff. And, it was a bombshell in many ways, lived up to the hype because there were stories, accounts of Robert Sarver being, saying racist things. There's 3 or 4 instances they use of him using the N-word, all of it within the same context, a sort of, if they get to say it, why can I say it? Or here, let me quote these lyrics. What am I doing wrong here? And it's like, old man, says this one time to a coach, and a coach tells him like, hey man, like, let me educate you about why you can't do that. Okay, get it. Kept doing it, like different scenarios. He just keeps bringing, it's like his go-to routine to kind of keep doing this. There was an awkward story about him sharing a photo of his wife in a bikini and talking about their sex life. Very, very weird behavior.
To be fair, though, we do that at DNVR Nuggets all the
time. all of us. Another weird, like a very weird detail. There was during the ALS challenge. You guys remember this? The ice bucket challenge. You do the ice bucket thing.
Yep.
They got a 25-year-old account executive working for the team. He's doing this in front of 60 employees. Robert Sarver comes over and pantses him after doing an ice bucket challenge in front of 60 employees, thinking it's hilarious. They get like, and the poor guy probably ruined his life. I mean, you can only imagine if we got all of DNVR together and we're like, watch this, guys. Like,
I laughed just when you said that at the absolute absurdity, but like to actually witness that is something very different.
Horrifying. So
I'm not gonna
these
lie.
Different stories, and then I'll give the last part here. We'll dish on it. But the last part was, meddling with the team. We've heard this, by the way. Robert Sarver is like, people have heard these stories. There just have never been a report on him. There's never been any of this, but everybody kind of knew. And the number one thing you knew about him was he knows everything. So there was literally stories of him coming into Igor Kokoshkov's locker room after a game and telling him, why didn't you make better adjustments? Drawing up plays on the whiteboard and telling guys like, here's the play to run. Like, just crazy person behavior on all accounts. But here's where it's interesting for me. All of these stories, minus the ice bucket challenge one, are stories that are like 1-on-1 or 2-on-1. Like, I was here. I don't have a recording of it. I don't have an email of it. I don't have this. It's just all of these stories. There's almost no question that these stories are true. Like, you get 70 accounts. But the NBA is in a very interesting spot. They're launching an investigation, and they don't have the smoking gun like they did with Donald Sterling. And to me, that's where I read this whole story, just waiting for where's the email? Where's the recording? Where's the thing? And that's why I think the situation actually gets a little difficult for the NBA. What do you think, Vogt? Yeah.
Well, I definitely agree, and I think bringing up the Sterling point is the most important point here. I mean, we were joking going on air, like, of the thousands of terrible things that Sterling has done or said, what was caught on that video comes in like last place, but it was on video. And so that was the thing they could pin him for. Of course, a guy very deserving of being pinned for something.
Also, the recording was bad enough that like you're not lessening it by saying it's the 1,000th worst thing. It's just everything we know about him is like, hey, this guy is doing this every single day.
Trying to make a larger point that, you know, the severity of the allegations against Sarver can be alarming and appalling, but San's actual evidence, you know, like that severity isn't going to accumulate into like a more compelling case, I think, for the NBA. Who also doesn't want to set an ugly precedent here, right? I mean, I believe Sarver did this stuff 100%.
I don't think anybody doubts it, to be honest. That's the thing about these weird stories is it's like, yeah, of course. Yep.
Right. But again, it's just allegations. And so how keen is the NBA, is Adam Silver on setting that precedent of, like we can oust guys based off allegations, because wouldn't there be incentive for other people who have issues with ownership all around the league to maybe try to stir some allegations up themselves? So,
and don't forget, sort of billionaires love court. They really like court. It's like their
they do love court.
We'll see. But I think it's a dangerous precedent.
D-Line, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, to me, like largely, like Sarver is one of these guys that just is universally hated in NBA circles. Like he's a guy that, like people want him to sell the team. They don't like that he has assembled a literal NBA final squad and then like refuses to pay for it after the fact. And like, he's like one of these guys that just represents the worst type of ownership in the NBA. And to me, it's like, they're sort of like people just want to get rid of this guy. Like they're just looking for things, and he's happy to oblige. It's hard to
read the thing and think there's not like lots of great reasons. But the point is just like you have him, like he's just going to go to court. Like the NBA pulled this off successfully.
Yeah, like he's happy to oblige, but like to me, it's like if they wanted to really get rid of him, like they went too early on this. It's like there's definitely smoke. Or there's fire with the smoke, no question. I mean, he's definitely a guy that
whole building is smoking right now.
And clearly he doesn't like quite get what it is to be an NBA owner. He's like just like Donald Sterling before him. He's like a guy that likes the idea of the prestige of owning an NBA basketball team, but like doesn't quite get what it means, not only to the NBA at large, but to the city of Phoenix and like the people that are loyal to this team that work for the team. Like
just another asset. Yeah.
One of the
he mentioned he would talk to the employees and he would ask, "Do I own you?" Meaning, are you one of my employees? But that's how he would refer to it. Do I own you?
It's like beyond. It's like I mean, this guy sucks. He's like a terrible guy. Like I mean, like that much is clear, and it's just a bummer because like the ownership of sports, like, and working in a sporting environment should be a dream job. Like it should be a thing that if you get it, it's like you feel like you've died and gone to heaven. You get to be part of the other side of things that people are like so interested in. And like, you get to help set the narrative and the culture. But like, this just sounds like a terrible place to work, like terrible, like, and it sucks. Like, I want to get rid of this guy too, just because I hate the idea that there are these like, that there are just such a small number of people in the world that can own franchises and sports franchises, and they own so much of our attention for that reason, and they like suck. Like it's brutal. Like, like we just got to get rid of this guy, but like I don't think they definitely don't have enough to do it with.
Yeah, and I see this comment here, and someone talks about renaming it. There at one point, I think it actually is. This already went through. They're not owners anymore. They're the board of governors, but that they could push him out. Here's the thing: the other owners or board of governors hate Sarver too. Like this is the thing about it is they all don't like this guy. So there's going to be a lot of pressure. The NBA has a mess on their hands because I think everybody wants to get this guy out, but it's going to be harder than I think everybody was like, sweet, get him out of there. And I'm looking at the evidence and I'm just like, I hope so. That's all I'll say. I hope so. I just am not sure from that report. I would maybe guess that there's going to be a hefty fine, and maybe some type of like, you need to step away for a period of time. And that's it. But I don't know that we're going to get the full Donald Sterling. You're out of here.
There's not, they can't. I mean, they absolutely can't. You're talking about things that are much larger than just people not liking this guy. I mean, it's like becomes legal. It becomes like precedent setting. And, but really like more than anything, like for a guy like Robert Sarver that wants to be liked, like wants to be, you know, like looked at a certain way. I mean, I would imagine that this is going to make owning his team a lot less fun for him to be a pariah. Like that
was one of the sad
society.
things I'll say, and I know none of the people really don't like the Suns because they knocked the Nuggets out last year. They went to the NBA Finals, one of the best years they've ever had in franchise history. And one of the things that was in that story was the people working for him, the executive team and the employees, all said it was like a terrible year and nobody felt good about it. It was really like disheartening. Some of the employees, by the way, said that they, after quitting, were suicidal for a long time. Like that this job had kind of ruined their life because of how he treats people. So we're kind of like, there is a little bit of laughing at some of the absurdity of these stories, but the weight of them like is never lost. Of like, man, this guy really truly sounds like he makes everyone's life miserable and crosses every line at every chance he gets.
That's the thing. Like it's like when you reach the mountaintop of where it is you want to be in your life, in your professional life, you're like, I would like to work for an NBA team. I would like to work for the Phoenix Suns. This sounds like an ideal situation. And then you're there and it sucks. And you're like, I don't even know what I want to do anymore. Like, what is it? Like you've looked behind the curtain and there is Oz, and you're like, man, is everything in life a lie? Like, is there anything that's actually true? So I get it, like to be, just presented with the fact that it's just like a weird rich guy's plaything that he doesn't really care about. And it's not what you thought it was. It's like a hard pill to swallow.
Very hard pill.
Well, it makes me wonder about, there was that one-on-one sit down with Ayton after the failed attempts at a contract extension. Like what a weird conversation that must have been. And just like what's going through Ayton's head. And imagine thinking like outside of, I'm sure Ayton loves playing for Monty and playing with Chris and Devin. And there's probably a lot of things he loves, the success. But I mean, how in the back of your mind could the thought, I can't wait to get out of here, not creep in? Now I'm speaking, not DeAndre Ayton. Of course, I don't know how he feels, but it's something that I thought about immediately. Also, really quick, last point. And by the way, jokes aside and talking about precedent, to be clear, not diminishing or defending anything Sarver did or said at all. But I also find myself thinking about how this report was leaked. Like there was a report that this report was coming. And I just wonder how much, if at all, that gave Sarver and company and his legal team time to maybe reach out to Baxter, ESPN, to set up in advance how they're going to get ahead of this. And so, again, as far as finding the smoking gun, it's all that much more difficult.
There's just one more thing. Stories like this make me crazy, where you have to be like, then you have to come out and be like, I am also against racism.
Right.
I am also against massage, all this stuff. You're like, yeah, no shit. Like everybody in a civilized society should see what's wrong with this. But then you have to, then you have to set up and be, a beacon of virtue to be like, no, I find it wrong that, racist things were saying. Like, yeah, obvious. I hate these kind of stories. It's brutal.
Let's hit a break. On the other side, the Nuggets did have practice today and some interesting things were said. And then after that, the mailbag with some great questions that maybe play into some of the stuff that was said today at practice. We'll get there after this.
I, too, am not a misogynist. Just wanted to squeeze that in. But,
I'm going to tweet it right now just so everyone knows.
Well, as that story just told us, I mean, people are what can make companies special or not special. But at Ball Corporation, people are what make Ball special. People at every level come into work each day and give 100% to accomplish their goals. Their production techs are frontline in their can-making operations. They directly impact the volume of production that Ball runs, the quality of production they run, and they're integral to operations. Production technicians are also important because their skills grow. They're able to move even more mechanical roles. Ball is all about the people, and they want you, the people of Colorado, to come work for them. Go ahead and text Golden to 77222. You get linked to open positions. You can also go directly to jobs.ball.com and search for Golden. That's jobs.ball.com and search for Golden, or simply text Golden to 77222. It's betting season, guys, as I'm sure you know, and DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, they want you to get in on the action. Let's see, it's still November 5th, isn't it? That's right. NFL fans, are you hungry for a big win this week? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL's got you covered. You can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game. If they do, they give you $200 in free bets. DraftKings Sportsbook customers could also get skin in the game with new same-game parlays. Just don't listen to Deb or Eric. Make sure you listen to the DNVR bets guys. Actually, no, Eric, you're shooting 100%. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I missed the
straight.
last one. Because we missed the last one because the Nuggets themselves, because the top human being MVP of the league missed the last shot. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's
foul.
You got fouled. Listen, DraftKings is safe, secure, it's reliable. Best of all, you deposit, withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with promo code DNVR this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Alrighty, back here. I'm actually ducking out of the show in about 5 minutes, but I want to hit some bullets. I'm going to leave the mailbag to you guys. Going out there, vacation. Me and Ayrton. But I want to hit a couple bullet points today from practice. Michael Malone, and really all of the Denver Nuggets in a great mood. And I thought that was important. Like every time you see him come back from a 2-game, losing streak, you want to see like what's the temperature of the room. I thought the temperature was very pleasant, very, very warm, but not too warm. It was perfect. Like a nice bath. And so one of the weird notes here, the Nuggets, I don't know if you remember this Vogt. They got all those banners on the side of the wall that has like every division. They don't really have any conference championships, so they have all the divisional banners up. Took them all down. They were duplicates because there's one wall that has like a certain amount, and then there was one that had these giant, kind of gaudy, to be honest with you, ugly banners. They were not very attractive looking banners. And I don't know what the reason was for it, but they took them down and now it's like a bare wall. So it's kind of practice court looks a little naked.
Big note. Very big note.
I didn't notice that. I wonder if there's if that's just housekeeping or if that's a psychological move. I wonder if it's hey, the goal is bigger. The goal is bigger than it used to be. And these Nuggets are not beholden or weighted down or anchored by the history of those who came before them. Enough with the division stuff, the moral victories. They won it all.
Well, I think that's it. That because they, everybody knows that you come in to have a morning shoot, something like that. You look up at the division championship banners and you're like, you know what?
1976 division championship. Like, wow.
You're like, you know what? We're going to do it, guys. We're going to do it.
Michael Malone also said the team had the most contested shots that they've had all season on Wednesday. As he reflected on the game, he felt better about it. He said the lesson, of course, is that you need to play 48 minutes, not 36. And he felt, obviously, that first quarter, they didn't come ready to play. But once they did, he actually really liked a lot what he saw. I asked him about, struggling to score. And Vogt's out of here.
I thought you were. Am I going to solo pod this here in about 5 minutes?
You're going to solo pod. I can't wait for it. So he was asked about how the team can score better, especially that second unit. And I thought, I actually asked him specifically about getting into the paint, and he said fast breaks are the way. And that tells me a couple things. The first thing it tells me is that maybe suggest to me that maybe he doesn't have the most confidence in that second unit, because it's like, hey, if this becomes a half court game, you're not going to score. We got to get out on the break with that unit, and that's how you can get into the paint. So playing faster with that second unit, by the way, I think it's accurate, generates more threes, more fouls, gets into the paint. Michael Malone also said he loves the new rules. Big fan of that, and he believes that he had a great line. He talked about every time there's a new rule, the crooks will learn how to take advantage of it. He said, so right now we're in between, basically, where the crooks haven't figured out how to solve it. I just loved it. I was like, the crooks. Such a classic Maloneism.
When can we be the crooks? We need to figure out how this is going to work out. Like, Malone should be studying, looking for loopholes.
You're joking, but I kind of was leading him to that. Like, when I asked the question, I actually asked it twice, and
he did.
It's two different ways. Well, because I was trying to lead him to
sure,
what is the thing you can take advantage of now that teams maybe don't realize? Because I think it's out there, and there is going to be teams that kind of take advantage of those things and getting an edge. And he said somebody will, which I thought was interesting. And then lastly, he raved about Bones Hyland's acceptance of his role, that he understands his role. And I thought, we're talking about a rookie, and he's like, he understands what it is we need him to do and what he's bringing to this team. And I thought that was such a cool note.
Also, more specifically, he did touch on Bones' ability to get into the paint whenever he wants, and how that's something the Nuggets are lacking. And then also, of course, that second unit, Facu, as much as I love him, can't do that to save his own life. And so there's always pick and pop. And, it's not just that it's all threes, but what kind of threes are they, right? Whereas Bones can penetrate, draw attention, kick out. You're looking at inside, you're looking at paint to corner threes, which is what Malone wants. So Bones, it's, there's that part to it as well. But that's not surprising. I mean, Bones is just, for all of the confidence, he has never really lost this air of gratitude and perspective that has seemed to be very present in him in his short time in his NBA career. He's just stoked to be here. And so rather than thinking, what does this Malone guy have to tell me? Bones appears to be all ears to learn. I mean, look, it's not surprising. None of this stuff is surprising. There's not a person in the organization you ask about Bones who answers the questions any differently.
Bones is a person, like, he's like one of my favorite kind of people, like somebody that has had things taken away from them and then has supreme appreciation for what he has now been given back, or for at least for the opportunity that has been presented to him. I mean, like, let's not forget, he was the story of he was in a house fire, had to jump from a second or third story window and tore his knee up. And so he was out of basketball, and his
story.
It is, it's terrible. And like, he had family members perish. I mean, it's a terrible story through and through. And he's like somebody that has seen what real life is and what, understands very clearly what losing something feels like. And so I just love his approach. You're right. Like, he just is clearly like somebody that is very thankful and grateful for every day that he's able to, fulfill, or even be given the opportunity to fulfill his dream. And it's just like such infectious energy. And I just cannot wait for him to be inserted in a meaningful way into that second and possibly first lineup, to where he can really start to affect the game. Like, when he comes in, it just looks different. Like, it just looks different. Like, this guy just comes in, he's shot out of a rocket. He, sometimes he's obviously, because he is a rookie, he is subject to making rookie mistakes, but he's also, able to sort of inject life into what feels like super lifeless at times. I mean, Michael Malone is right to have no confidence in that second unit and want to look for other ways to generate cheap looks at the basket, because they've shown over and over. And when we say they, I don't even know who they is. Like, the lineup changes all the time, and it just doesn't matter. Like, that second unit universally is like not able to generate good offensive opportunities for itself. So, man, I'm ready. The Bones era is here, and I'm ready for it.
Also, really quick, he did say, and this is no surprise at this point, but just to be clear, he did say Bones is in the rotation definitely now. So those weren't just experiments. He's a part of it.
The last thing, and then I got to duck and let you guys kind of take
this.
the
Let's
mailbag.
go.
But this is a big one, guys. This has been one of the big conspiracy corner topics that we've had. I think we still have the conspiracy corner, Kale. We might still have that graphic that people have been talking about. Bones Hyland confirms that the new Wilson basketball is different from the old Spalding ball, and different in a specific way. It takes a long time for it to break in. He said the old balls, you'd break in pretty quickly. This one, he estimates, and I don't know where he got the scientific research, he estimates 2 to 3 months for a
season. Hasn't been that long.
It hasn't even been that long, but it takes 2 to 3 months for a Wilson ball to break in where it feels the right way. So for all of you conspiracy theorists out there, we have our first piece of evidence that maybe this new ball is meaningfully different.
Oh my God. Considering the short, well, see you later, Adam. That was fun. Wow.
What a tease.
That's unbelievable.
Dad's gone. Let's have fun.
I know.
All right, so Eric, quick audible to online with D-line, right?
Let's enough of this garbage. Do you really want to talk about the Denver Nuggets still? I mean, let's have some fun, shall we? That dude, listen, it's funny, and we've been joking about it, but the ball is a really important part of the game of basketball.
I know. It's not that far-fetched.
And the precision required to play NBA basketball, like if you miss by 1 inch, you launch a horrible brick, or it goes in without touching anything. And so I'm going to go ahead and listen to the guy. Listen, Bones can tell me anything. And he's going to say, buy my t-shirt. I'll buy his t-shirt. He says, let's get busy. I get busy. Like, if he's saying there's something up with the ball, there's something up with the ball.
I mean, I would feel kind of sheepish as the Nuggets guy saying, now hang on Porter's poor shooting. They switched basketballs this year. However, having said that, there's a long list of guys who are struggling from three this year that you wouldn't expect them to. I do want to speak. One thing we sort of do in the media and in this discourse is we go, let's try to find the reason about a thing that almost certainly has 5+ reasons, and there are a lot of factors.
I think it's the reason.
Look, I think this is a big reason. I'm just saying it's also, in terms of the numbers being down all around, it's also worth noting that the NBA legalized defense. And
that's true.
The product's changed overnight. You can defend a perimeter player now.
It's true. It's true. When before you were able to go and the shots that are weighing down the overall percentage include James Harden jumping into somebody and then throwing the ball over the hoop, which previously would have been a foul and wouldn't count as a 3-point shot. Now counts as a missed 3-point shot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think, look, man, I kind of like the way you framed this, because I know there are some people who are immediately dismissive of this point. And again, I just don't think it's far-fetched. It's sort of like if a bunch of professional drivers were noting that the steering wheel had changed and you saw more accidents than you usually see, you might go I wonder if it's the steering wheels.
Dude, the Major League Baseball spent an entire season talking about juiced balls. We watched the home run totals go skyrocket, and then they apparently then deadened the balls this last year, and then the strikeout, whatever. It mattered. It mattered. I don't know. I've never touched an NBA basketball. I don't know. Bones says it happened, or Bones says it's real. It's real. That's all there is to it.
I know. And my only last point is just who asked them to change the ball? What?
The sponsors, the Wilson.
Sure, I'm sure it was a financial decision, but it's just one of the ultimate.
Wilson paid them a bunch of money.
That's how that works. Yeah.
No, I get it. I just sort of feels like one of those things where it's everyone certainly seems satisfied with the product. Who wants to outbid them? And I get it's a business.
Of course, who wanted Mile High Stadium to be known as Invesco Field at Mile High?
In Power Field, a mile high above the stadium.
That's
right.
Right.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Kill. Let's hop into those questions, dude.
Mailbag time. Bro, you were given specific instructions by Adam before he left, Kill. You were supposed to play the animation before a single question came up. Adam went over this. He made a point of doing it. You went right into the question. I can't, dude. I hope Adam doesn't watch this.
Average producer.
Now, tell me that wasn't worth the tongue lashing you just received.
That was 100% worth it. All right, let's go to this question from the homie at Mike Shields 99. How difficult is it to fairly evaluate all aspects of the Nuggets game/roster when such a key factor, shooting, is out of the norm? I think this is a great question. I know there are issues with process, you can't just take pull-up threes and all of that, but I also think it's okay to note some poor shooting luck in Denver's, not Denver's favor, working against Denver. Most notably, the best 3-point shooter on the team can't hit a shot to save his life.
Tough.
And by the way, I know it's a different unit, but Monte Morris, Will Barton, Porter, Jokic, these are all good spot up guys. So, I think the Nuggets are capable of shooting a higher percentage. And I think there are, I'll say, 2 losses this year where every team can do this, I'm sure, but you go back and you go, look, a little better shot luck, and that's a win. And that's just the reality. So I do think it makes it difficult. Last point real quick, though, Eric. With the bench, it's not as deceiving because they're taking a lot of threes because they can't get anything else. And the type of threes they're getting from process are poor threes, just pick and pop, swing, you shoot. I don't want to. And so I don't really envision that changing drastically. Maybe more Bones, less Facu helps. I'm sure it will. But so that poor 3-point shooting, I don't know if it's going to improve. JaMychal may not have a great year shooting and all that. But I do think the starters, we can expect an uptick.
Yeah, I agree. The largest point about the Denver Nuggets this year that I just hope people do not forget, and people, of course, are going to forget because even though this is a large picture that we're watching, it still is a game by game emotional response that human beings produce. But the Denver Nuggets literally are in the portion of this year where they just need to maintain, they just need to keep in the hunt. They just need to make sure that they are going to make the playoffs, and they need to be able to weather the storm until Jamal Murray comes back. I mean, what we're watching with the Denver Nuggets is like not the team that they want to trot out there. You know, it's not the rotations that they want. They don't want Monte Morris starting. He's a great player. He's not a starting point guard in the NBA. He hasn't been facilitating the offense like you'd want. He hasn't been an offensive gravity guy in any way. And so, not to say that he hasn't been, useful at times. It's just, you just cannot forget like where we are with this squad. Like,
right.
If the Denver Nuggets goal this season is to get into the playoffs and then make noise once they get into the playoffs. And so there's a lot of things you can look at, like, man, this second unit is shooting terribly. Like they're usually pretty aimless. We don't know who's in charge. We don't know who's supposed to be taking the shot, but like, you have to remember, that should be Monte that's running that squad, and Monte that's calling the shots and making sure that, people are in the right spot and that shots are being, the process is happening in the right way. Bad shot luck, that's NBA basketball.
Right.
It's frustrating. Like, this is like, it's going to be frustrating for a while, guys. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. And when you're missing a player of Jamal Murray's stature, it's just unavoidable, and so you just can't lose faith in a lot of this stuff.
And I also don't know. I think, look, we're through 8 games, and I think there's an emerging like, hey guys, this is going to be maybe a 500, keep your head above year kind of season. And I actually that's why I appreciated this question. I'm still not there yet either. I still think this group can be a 4 seed, and
they're above average.
And they can be great. I mean, the bench is going to be a problem all year, but I just think that go ahead, go.
All I was going to say is the West isn't the usual West this year. There's a lot of questions about all the top teams. Kawhi is unhealthy. The Lakers are old. Like, there's no reason the Nuggets can still be a top 4 seed.
No, yeah. Every team in the West, like every team in the NBA sucks except for like 2 teams.
Yeah, and like
the Heat and maybe the
Bulls, the Jazz.
Like the Bulls,
yeah, I mean, exactly. And this point from Jordan, I was going to actually bring this up. I remember when the Nuggets were the same amount of games out from the 3 seed as they were in the 11 seed. And there were some nervous Nuggets fans. And my perspective the whole time was like, hey, ask yourself this. Are the Nuggets good or bad? There's a right answer to that question. There's a whole lot of evidence that suggests they're the former. So to the point of the question, I do think if the starters got a little more shot luck, and again, some of it's process, but some of it is just, hey, they can hit that shot and they didn't. We might have a very different perspective on the start to the season. Again, it's the start to the season too. You don't find yourself sitting here going, I think the Suns are bad now. I think the Bucks are bad now because they're off to suboptimal starts. Let's keep it moving though. Next question, Kale, and then we'll try to sell you guys some products. If you're Tim Connolly right now, wow, great question, because I am. I am uniquely qualified to answer this. What do you think about Denver's start to the season? What moves are you looking to make, if any, before Jamal's return? Eric, that's to you, brother.
Well, first point, bring that back up. If somebody asks a question with no avatar, we're not putting a default guy avatar. If you want your question featured on this show, you need to put an avatar on your goddamn account. That's all I'm saying about that.
As the man who made this graphic, I would just like to defend myself because Brennan sent me that question, so I didn't know what to do with the no ad.
We don't bow to eggs here. All right, we put that question back up. I was so distracted by the fact that there was no avatar for that question asker. Okay, Tim Connolly, what do you think about Denver start? What movie do you make, if any, before Jamal's return? The only thing that I think you probably are really starting to question is the backup 5. Like Jeff Green to me obviously is like not cutting it in that specific role. Like I don't know. I mean, the Los Dos Verdes have been so bad. Like those two together have been so exquisitely bad. Like the rebounds that they give up. It's hard to get too mad at just the defense in general because the Nuggets have been really, really good on defense. I mean, like
sure.
But
the bench has like
been a Munderfest. They're bad. I mean, they're bad. They're bad. And it's not. They tried they have been trying and going through this like pretty unorthodox positionless basketball approach to fill in that front court, and it's not working. So
right.
In my mind, So, I mean, the question is like, okay, do we need to address this through a trade, or do we have players on our bench that can actually help here? Do we need to start looking at Vlatko? I still don't know where he is as far as his health is concerned, but like, do we need to start looking at Zeke Naji? Are there other players?
Right.
Do we need to start looking at Bol? I mean, like
the only thing, Eric, because I like the way where you've worked it here, is that think about those solutions though, right? Like those are all redundant solutions. None of those guys look, they might play better. I'm just sort of speaking from Tim Connolly's perspective of construction, right? It's another couple of fours who you feel like who they are and what they do, or maybe in Zeke's case, it's going to take a while, or in Bol's case, you don't know what the hell he is or what he's ever going to do. So these are roster spots that could be filled by alternatives, right? By different looks, by potential solutions. And as of right now, they aren't. So I do think you're right to look right there. I mean, if I'm Tim, the only thing I will say, I think that Tim and the front office probably have the same perspective that they did in the summer. This team is really good. Let's get through it. And as far as the core of the team, we stay the course. But I do think there's they're not doing their due diligence if they're not at least considering finding a traditional backup center via trade or in free agency.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that is the biggest need for the Denver Nuggets.
All right, let's blaze through a read. Well, then we'll blaze through the rest of these questions.
Let's blaze, bro.
Sleeping's really great. It's even better when you've got the snooze flip. Snooze flip is one of the most universal mattresses on the planet. Why compromise when you can customize? Ooh. That's effing free, Snooze. So hit me up. One side is soft, one side is firm, and you can't flip it to the side. And you can flip to the side that fits your body. The cover's reversible with one side up to 5 degrees cooler and cozy warm on the other side. It's a zippable cover, makes the Snooze flip a true 4-in-1 mattress. Eric, guess how many 4-in-1 mattresses there are in the world?
Millions.
Just this one, actually.
What?
So don't stress shopping through hundreds of beds online. Snooze Flip has all the features in one, and they'll ship it straight to your door. But here's the deal. We've got a deal. That's why we're telling you about this. Use code DNVR and receive $250 off a mattress, plus $250 off with adjustable base. Queen mattress savings are $500 with adjustable base. Dual split king savings up to $1,000 with adjustable base. This is a lot of money. Head to snoozesleep.com and grab your Snooze Flip mattress today. That's snoozesleep.com to get your Snooze Flip delivered straight to your door. Happy sleeping and recovering, fam. And usually we ask for testimonials and pictures, but don't send us any pictures of you sleeping.
No, so DM me those pictures.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Oh no. Uh-oh, guys. Chevalier Mortgage. We all know how difficult it can be. Oh my God, I can't find it. Oh no, wait, I got it. We're good. That was good, right? Something to keep in mind for homeowners. With prices going up, it's creating natural equity in your home. If you have mortgage insurance, chances are you can refinance out of that. Make the bubble work for you. If that sounds too difficult, if that sounds too complicated, that's what Mike and Virginia Chevalier are for. They have a fun perk for DNVR listeners. If you visit them at dnvrmortgage.com and enter to win a free DNVR shirt or hat of your choice. When you do, most importantly, get set up with a free consultation to discuss all your options. That's dnvrmortgage.com. You can call Virginia directly at 303-257-6578. You can call Mike directly at 970-412-2472. That's Michael Chevalier, NMLS number 1931006. Virginia Chevalier, NMLS number 1910631. And finally, we really want to make beef business your business, because we're in business with the best in the beef business. We've got a sweet Halloween deal going on at Wagyu Beef right now.
Holiday deal, not Halloween deal.
That's right. Holiday deal at Wagyu. DNVR 15 gets you 15% off their delicious beef. Get sent straight to your door. If you get in on a group order with your friends, you can get that order up to $200. Or if you're just rich and got a great freezer storage deal, you can just go up to $200 by yourself. If you do, it's free shipping. It's a lot of meat. It's the best beef. It's the blue collar beef. And if you want to try it for yourself before you commit to a big order, come on down to the DNVR bar in York and Colfax. We've got a revamped menu. Those burgers feature Wagyu beef. It's delicious. Check it out.
Man, if I was the one reading those ads, I would be brutalized in the comments.
Well, here's the deal, Eric. I get brutalized every time, so it's not like I'm immune. But you would think I'd be better at it by now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, my favorite aspect of this is that you insist upon reading it from your phone when you're clearly on your computer during this show.
My computer's being really funky and slow right now, but I don't.
Funky and slow. Okay.
That's right.
Next question.
Yeah, I don't know if the people want to process pod. Let's just answer their question. Kimura says notable shooters around the league are okay. We already talked about this actually, but I like this last part of the placebo effect where, okay, maybe the ball is really that more difficult to shoot, or maybe they've just convinced themselves they're working with a different ball. Either way, though, we have acknowledged that we think there is an effect. So let's blaze through that one.
Here's what I'll also say, just quickly, so quickly, if you'll allow me. Will you allow me? If you watch the NBA royalty, the USA basketball team play in the Olympics, their first however many games using that weird international ball, like they couldn't make anything, nothing. It was like hilarious to watch it happen. This is matters. It's worth talking about, but we already did talk about it, so it's not worth talking about anymore.
Right, let's go back into that mailbag, Kale.
All right.
Let's see what we can find here. Let's see. Digging around. Oh, from Big Honey. Should Nuggets starter Jokic per Ryan Blackburn? Should the Nuggets stagger Jokic per Ryan Blackburn's suggestion? Blackburn was tweeting about this yesterday. He's obviously all over rotations. He's the king of Nuggets rotation Twitter.
Absolutely. He's got the color coding. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I know. Is that a retro jersey? What am I looking at? And then
it's such a great resource though after games if you're trying to recall stretches and who was on the floor. Ryan's the best. We're both going to see Dune, by the way, tonight.
Oh, are you going to see it? Tell me all the specifics. Where?
You gotta go see it in IMAX.
Yeah,
thank you. I am going to go see it in IMAX. So there's a chance to see me and Ryan there if that's what you're doing tonight. But so Ryan came up with a plan to start Jokic, have Jokic finished with the starters, but in the middle, Jokic is doing the lion's share of staggering with the bench, putting that bench on his shoulders. Eric, do you have any initial reactions to that?
Well, we watched the Utah Jazz do that with one Rudith Gobert against the Nuggets, where they where just Snyder immediately acknowledged the fact that Rudy had no business guarding Jokic, so he was like, F it. They just punted on that matchup and put Rudy up against the lesser competition on the bench. And so there's obviously something to that theoretically Jokic could just absolutely feast upon bench units and we could really, be able to dominate those minutes. But also, then he also needs to score against the other starters. It's tough because Jokic is the alpha, the omega. He is everything to this team. And so every minute he's not on the floor is bad. And every minute he is on the floor is good. So which of those, I don't know what to do exactly.
I think Ryan's argument is with the current construction of the starters, they're a better bet to stay afloat without him, right, than the bench. But my particular objection is even Jokic, like that he stayed in with the bench in that last loss in Memphis. It didn't go well. It tanked his plus minus. He didn't actually play that well. I do think on the aggregate, he can figure out how to play and play well with just about anyone. But again, while I get what Ryan's doing and I see the value in it, and maybe that's the route they have to go. I don't know. I mean, Ryan's smarter than I am. I'm just going to say it, Eric. I'm just going to admit it. But I do wonder, how much value is there in it to optimizing everyone except for your best player. And then also in terms of trying to take the load off Jokic and not have him really be so exhausted by the end of the season, is he going to be more exhausted by having to lift a bench up on his shoulders the entire time? So I get where Ryan's coming from, and maybe we see more of that. Malone has tried a lot of different things, but there are some elements of it that scare me.
Should we just tweet at him right now? At Ryan Blackburn from at DNVR Nuggets. No.
What were you thinking, Ryan? Pull your head out of your ass.
Why did you tweet this, bro? No, I mean, I get it. Everybody's just sort of looking for the one little twist and turn that's going to turn this year's Nuggets into last year's Nuggets. But here's the thing is that last year's Nuggets mostly contained Jamal Murray, and it's just like a more difficult situation to try and figure out how to make everything work when these same conversations we were having at the end of last year, like people are forced into roles that are not intended for them. So
Sure.
I don't know, man. Like to me, the changes that should be made are personnel changes more so than just
Who plays one
staggering rotation changes. It's like I want to see Vlatko and I want to see Bones, and I want to see less of Los Dos Verdes if possible, and I want to see a little life injected to that bench. To just like, frankly, all that bench needs to do is like be even or like negative like 2 or 5
I know, man.
or something.
I know. Or just like play defense, and so you didn't score well, but neither than the other team, or you both just wasted time for 5 minutes and Yoke caught his breath. But it's like this year you give them a lead, it's like a pile of sand. It just immediately falls through their fingers. I do think, though, this does sort of highlight the one point I want to make about the bench discourse, which is that this is so clearly not a like eureka, here's the fix, here's the problem, I can diagnose this. Like within Nuggets Twitter, we've got thousands of minds on this. People who watch a lot of basketball think a lot about basketball, and we're all coming up with a bunch of different answers and really good counterpoints to each other's solutions. I say all of this to say, I know it's his job, but it does sort of highlight how difficult this is for Malone. It's not like there's just like there's a button he should press and he's refusing to press it. To some extent with Bones, maybe that is the case, but it's not like there's like just fix the bench and he's refusing to do it. There's not an easy answer here.
The thing, it's also like not a fantasy lineup where you just like put the players in and then you just get these points and you add them together. Like basketball, unfortunately, requires human beings to understand and trust one another and like to know what the other person's going to do so that they can achieve synergy and be deceptive and not be able to be diagnosed by the other team, so they can be cut off. And like that, unfortunately, takes time to develop. And so whatever the solution is, it's going to take time to gestate. You can't just like throw it out and be like, okay, cool, there it is. It's like, no, okay, now Bones, if he's in there, needs to figure out what his relationship with Vaku is, what his relationship with PJ Dozier is. Does he get that 2-man game going with, I don't know, Jeff Green like he did with Bol, and it took a little time to develop all that stuff. I mean, all of this is like steering the Titanic. Like it just takes time to make changes, like
turning that Titanic around. I like how you didn't go with like the ship from the Suez Canal. You went with the Titanic.
I couldn't remember, dude. I'm an old man. All of my references come before the year 1945.
The Suez Canal was too recent.
It was too recent, dude. We watch basketball and I'm like, oh man, what a sweet move. He's like saltwater taffy out there.
All right, let's get through 2 more questions before we get out of here. Thanks to everyone sticking around with for the clown show here. What do you got? Why do you think Malone and Connolly prefer small lineups instead of having a backup center on the floor when Yoke is out? All right, I love this question because I'm trying to get to the bottom of which one does, right? Is this because the roster that was handed to Malone is not a roster that has a traditional 5 on it. Having said that, Tim Connolly also went out and traded for one at the deadline last year, and Michael Malone refused to play him. So
didn't play him.
I'm not sure. And like Malone seemed pretty frustrated when answering questions about the small ball thing. I actually don't know if I have a good feel for which one of these guys prefers which route. And I know I get to ask them questions every day. I actually still don't know the answer.
Yeah, he doesn't have a 5. He doesn't have it. But you're right. He did have it, didn't want to play it. But another counterpoint is that it was JaVale McGee, who is one of the lowest IQ players in the history of the NBA. So that's like not a Malone guy. I don't know that he's like against playing a backup set. Like I guarantee that Malone longs for the days when he had Mason Plumlee to call upon to just be a steadying force off of the bench and just sort of like be that guy that could be a exquisitely loose approximate for Nikola Jokic, and that he is able to be a passing big man. I don't know, man. It's a tough spot. It's a tough spot to be in. I don't know exactly how you navigate it because he doesn't have that traditional answer. To me, like there's some kind of answer in Vlatko, and there's also just kind of hoping that Unk regains form a little bit. I mean, he just looks bad right now, and last year he looked great. So Is it the passage of time? Is it Wilson balls versus Spalding balls? It might be. I don't know. We just need to sort of like allow a little bit of this to play out. And, so long as the Nuggets are still in the hunt and they're still, like not free falling, they're winning games that they should, and not, and like they're losing games on the road. Like that's what happens. I'm just not in a position where I'm going to be alarmed about any of it, knowing that down the road, like our true form is still waiting for us.
The only other point I'd make too is, the small ball thing is not working because this unit's really bad, but that doesn't necessarily condemn the small ball notion, right? Like if these guys could hit their threes, if that point guard maybe had a slightly different skill set, like I think none of these guys are doing each other any favors on that second unit. But there's a version of two sort of stretch four bigs that can work, but at least one of them has to be slightly more confident around the rim as a roller. And then either one of them needs to be a better 3-point shooter. And neither of them are hitting their shots right now. So
tough.
That's a big part of it as well. We have seen this unit at its worst, but I don't know if that should condemn the philosophy with regards to how it's deployed around the league.
Yeah.
Real quick, Kale just put this in the comments. We're going to do another playback watch-along tomorrow. It went really well that last game on Wednesday with Memphis. So we're going to be tweeting that out. Members, if you're in the Discord, keep an eye out for the link. We'll put another tweet out. DM us on DNVR Nuggets if you want that link. But it'll be another watch-along on Saturday. So just a different way to watch the game. If you didn't get enough of us pregame, postgame, or at the perch, you can now just watch the game with us. And then we're still working on the new. Oh, it's the same link. It's the same link. I should reiterate that. So if you've already received that link from DNVR Nuggets, you don't need another one. If you haven't gotten it yet, let me know. Let us know on DNVR Nuggets. I'll get it to you. And then we're still working on the post game shower segment with Eric. So we'll let you know. We'll let you know when we get that up and running.
Yeah, we thought that the camera was waterproof. It's not waterproof.
It's not. So.
All the same. Sudsing up with D-line is on its way.
Suds with buds, dude. Just a standing podcast in the shower. All right, let's get one last question. Let's get one last question in and get out.
We've got a super chat to end with.
Oh, cool. Let's do the super chat then, Kel.
It's literally up on screen.
It's on screen.
Have you guys been more impressed with AG's offense or defense coming from Juan Hernandez?
It has to be defense because the defense has been so good, but I like Juan's question because Aaron Gordon's been very good on offense. His approach has been great. He's pressed the right buttons, pulled the right levers at the right time. Seems to be a very self-aware player right now. What do you think, Eric?
I think his defense has been incredible. I can't wait to have him as my first guest on Suds with Buds. We'll talk about it.
You guys look so funny.
Brought to you by Manscaped. Oh my God. Yeah, no, his defense has been incredible.
Oh, is that it?
Everything.
Okay.
It's been everything that he's shut down the premier talent that he's gone up against, and it's not been just restricted to the position he himself happens to be playing. He's been shutting down point guards. He's been shutting down 2 guards, 3 guards. I mean, he's just been everything that we could have ever hoped for from a defensive standpoint, and his offense has been great. Aaron Gordon has been the most improved player on the Denver Nuggets this season.
Wow, I love that. Great positive takeaway to end the show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for hanging out with us all week. Please hang out with us before the game, during the game, after the game tomorrow on Saturday. We'll see you guys next time. Enjoy your weekend. Go Nuggets. See you at Dune. I'm Max.
Let's go.